on the internet. He can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
Expect to ever have this feeling again?
It's a good question. I didn't feel like it felt like I might not, to be honest with you. So, it's pretty special.
Does that enable you, does you let that sink in, does a night like this?
Yeah, for sure.
Introspective. There was a lot of that. I watched Joe Flacco's post-game press conference last night, and there was a lot of some of the other clips because I really enjoyed it. Good morning. It's a Friday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn. He's Griffin, and if it's a Friday, that means our chief grand poobah, Stan the Fan Charles, is in studio with us. Stan, good morning, sir.
Morning, guys. Good morning. Good morning.
That was just an unbelievable night.
Well, what happened?
What happened? The icy hot bowl, as everybody was calling it, between two guys. It's a miracle they're even alive at the ages of 40 and 41. Old effers going out there and putting on a classic. Joe Flacco, Aaron Rodgers, and yeah, it's one of those things where immediately you'd say, hey, that's good for the Ravens that Joe Flacco beat the Steelers. And yeah, but if the Bengals offense is going to perform like that with Joe Flacco, then they're a threat moving forward in the AFC North. So it was just fun. Very, very fun football game. And Joe Flacco looked great. I mean, really looked great. Aaron Rodgers had the 2 interceptions. That wasn't great, but other than that, he looked really good. Just a fun night, and it involved the Steelers losing, so I'm always going to be in favor of that. And Joe Flacco beating the Steelers.
You know what's interesting about watching Flacco now is he really, even when he was in his prime, he never looked like he had joy playing football.
Well, I just think he's an emotionless.
Yeah, but he's
person.
showing emotion now.
A little bit.
Him. Yeah.
Stan, you know what was really funny? I don't know if you saw this. They kicked the field goal that would prove to be the game winner. There's 7 seconds left.
Yep.
First of all credit in the world to T. Higgins for knowing to go down and not screwing that up.
They handled that brilliantly.
I was chatting with T.J. Smith about this. There's a few receivers that you could think of that, even if they were told, they probably still would be like, Tyreek Hill, I don't think is the guy that would go down in that moment. And so T. Higgins very smartly goes down. They kick the field goal, 7 seconds left, and they cut over to the sideline for Joe Flacco's reaction. Nothing. Yeah. Stoic. Stone-faced. And afterward, they asked him about it, and he was like, I've watched Aaron Rodgers throw a bunch of Hail Marys in my life until that clock says
that was an incredible throw that he made on that last
I can't believe he got it to the end zone.
Yeah.
I thought for sure they were doing what Van Pelt always calls the pitchy woo-woo.
Right.
And then he uncorks it. I said, holy hell, that ball got there, which is insane. So it was funny looking over because I was like, Joe, it's okay. You can enjoy it a little bit. But as he said, not until the clock says 0. Not until we know.
Producer error.
Well,
Glenn doesn't tell me until I hit live.
I didn't
that
realize it.
The
until
monitor
I had no reason to look
off.
at the screen until we were like, Griffin, it's fine. We can deal with it another time. We can get through today's
I want
show.
to figure out what happened.
Well, that can be a post. I got to get out of here today.
I know. Okay.
I don't know if you've heard. I'm a deeply respected professor. I'm working on finishing.
Do we have to call you that from now on?
I would like it if you would refer to me as Professor Clark.
PC now.
Yeah.
What's that thing they do in the most revered in the Ku Klux Klan? Or
no, I don't think we're gonna do that. Whatever that is, I think we're gonna pass.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, Colson wants us to call him the most worshipful Grand Master.
That's
not the Ku Klux Klan.
Okay.
That's the Masons, I think, is where that comes from. Or the Elks, or one of those groups. That I think it's the Masons.
Oh, it's the Masons.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah, the most revered Grand Master.
I think that's where that comes from. A little bit of a different group. They just
Kind of like the Grand Poobah.
Chief Grand Poobah, yeah, a little bit. Again, I just don't think it's related to the
Where does
Ku Klux
Grand
Klan.
Ku-
think
I
Poobah
have
come from?
cards now.
Do you?
That says Stan
that's
Charles,
neat.
Chief Grand Poobah.
That's
Press
pretty
box.
neat. We have
How's that spelled?
we have to try to call this international number, and I don't
Oh,
know how
okay.
that works. So you're on that.
Okay.
Pass that phone to Griffin, and make sure you touch it because it'll fall asleep.
All right.
But we got to attempt to call that number somehow for our first guest. I don't know how to do it.
And who is
You're
this
the
first guest?
Austin O'Connor, former champion of the Maryland 5-Star, but he's Scottish, you see. And so he has a Scottish phone number, and I guess he's struggling to call us this morning from his Scottish phone number, so we're going to attempt to call him.
If this works.
If it doesn't, I don't know what we do. I don't know how we solve the problem. So, yeah, we'll talk to him, I hope, in just a minute. Later on in the program, Jeff Fisher is going to join us. Former head coach, of course, of the Tennessee Titans, Jeff Fisher. He knows a thing or two about getting the team to the playoffs after a slow start. His 2002 Tennessee Titans started the year 1-4. So he's going to offer some guidance on what it is the Baltimore Ravens might do.
What time
order
are
to
we
dig out there.
interviewing Jeff?
I've been meaning to talk to you about that. Been meaning to
Not another.
have a conversation with you about that, Stan. It's not personal from me.
Right.
From me, it's not personal. You might have to. There might have to be a certain number that you dial first in order to make an international call. I'm not sure.
That could be true.
I'm not sure of what the rules are. You might have to do a little interneting here in order to figure out how to make the call.
Okay.
Because
I
It-
may just
it-
not do that.
admit what? What is your plan?
I'll just call Matt.
Oh, okay. You're gonna try to do the workaround. Yeah. Griffin's trying to do the workaround here. See if he can't figure out another option. And to be fair,
So Albert Pujols, huh?
we'll get there. They pull the curtain back. So the Maryland 5-Star is going on right now up at
I
Fair
was
Hill.
there
You were just there
yesterday. I was
yesterday,
there
enjoying it.
yesterday. Beautiful.
And I feel terrible. I'm not going to be able to make it up this weekend because I have a bunch going on.
Can you make it next weekend?
I would be available.
I'll talk to Terry and Jeff
see if they
Newman.
can extend it
See
for
if they
another
can.
week.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that we had somebody on today to talk about the Maryland 5-Stars. So I
Right.
reached out to my friend Matt Lund at Maroon PR. I said, Matt, would love to have this. And he said, I'd like to get you Austin O'Connor, sorry.
Right.
He won the Maryland 5-Star in 2023. He'd be a great person to talk to. I
Right.
said, we'd love to do that. That would be wonderful.
Right. And that's what we're doing.
And he said, he'll call your hotline. No problem. So the show starts. Griffin's in a panic because our monitor doesn't work. He's losing.
He's
it, right?
beside himself.
Beside himself, because that reflects on him
Yeah.
as a producer.
Oh, does it ever?
It reflects very directly on him that the monitor's not working. So, okay, no worries. Just we'll deal with that later. Let's get into doing the show.
Yeah.
And then I get the text.
The show must go on.
I get the text from my friend Matt, and Matt says, need you to call Austin because it ain't working. And I said, oh, no problem. I'll pass that along to my guy. This is what we do. We got to do the show. So Griffin is our guy Friday.
Yeah, there's no question. There's
he's
nobody
the
better
one.
in this business.
He's the one that's going to. What do you think Kyle Ottenheimer would have done in this situation?
He would
I
have moved.
guarantee-
He would have moved things around.
I actually think that he might have lit the building on fire.
Yeah.
I just said. Well, now you don't have to worry about anything. That would be a possibility. So that's where we're at. So we're going to try to check in the Maryland 5-Star. Now somebody else just called. I have no idea what's going on right now.
I love.
Griffin's,
That's why I love doing
Griffin's
this show.
actually juggling at the moment.
I love doing
He's
this
doing
show.
Juggling. All right, Stan, while we try to figure out where Austin is, let's indeed talk a little bit about the two managerial candidates that we now know exist for the Baltimore Orioles. One
Yep.
they've already interviewed, one they're looking to interview. The first one is Luis Rojas. Luis Rojas, current Yankees third base coach, former manager of the Mets. Your thoughts first. He does check the box of having managerial experience, although not a ton of success.
Right.
So he wouldn't come with like great cachet because of it. what would your thoughts be about Luis Rojas?
I'm sort of really taken aback by these first two candidates, what they would have to offer that you don't already have in Tony Mansolini.
No, I'll get to that on the other one because I disagree on the other one. But this one, I completely agree with.
Yeah.
Like, if your thought is, if you're going to do this, why wouldn't you just hire Tony Mansolino? I understand that thought process.
Right.
Now, I don't know enough about Luis Rojas personally to know.
No, I'm sure he's
if,
a very fine, upstanding guy.
If, for example, like he has a certain amount of respect from like Latin players that, although the Orioles don't have a ton of Latin players at the moment.
The Yankees' third base coach is as high as it gets, without being a bench coach or so he's probably in like the top 75 or 80 people in the game right now in a position of managing or coaching.
So I am kind of in agreement with you about that.
Yep.
I think one of the things that you and I agree on the whole is the need for a manager with experience. And so that's why I also would typically, I think people would expect my response to Albert Pujols to see, okay, no. But I am in a weird place where I want an experienced manager but a big stick type of guy. Mm-hmm. I'm looking for someone, that's why I am enamored with Bob Melvin, that would come in and command respect on day one and could change accountability. And while, yes, Albert Pujols, who is the second candidate, who is not interviewed yet, but they want to interview him, and everybody seemed to think he was going to be the Angels manager, but he hasn't taken the job yet, so maybe there is a possibility. Doesn't qualify with, manager with experience, although, as been pointed out, he did manage in the Dominican Winter League and won a championship there and is slated to manage the Dominican team in the World Baseball Classic. But what he does bring to me is the big stick part of this, that we don't see players of this caliber manage ever anymore. Griffin and I looked over it, and 4 Hall of Famers have managed in the 21st century. And while Frank Robinson is a player of Albert Pujols' accomplishment and caliber, the others, with respect to Paul Molitor, who is a great player, Ryan Sandberg, a great player, and I don't even remember who was the fourth one, Griffin. Do you remember who the fourth one was? Tony Perez, yes, who managed in 2001. They're great players, but Albert Pujols is one of the 10 best hitters in the history of baseball. Mm-hmm. And so the big stick part of it, to me, I think would qualify on day one. Mm-hmm. I think he would command respect and accountability the moment he walked in, because you just don't see players like this in managerial roles these days.
Apparently there's some connection between
Matt Holliday. Mike Elias was in St. Louis. And then everybody's talked about the fact that Matt Holliday was his teammate in St. Louis and obviously has a close relationship with the Orioles. Right. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in a bit. Joining us now here on GCR, the Maryland 5-Star is underway out at Fair Hill. Maryland 5-Star with the number 5 to get your tickets. Day 2 of the Maryland 5-Star, the big cross-country event coming up tomorrow. Our next guest, someone who is a previous champion of the Maryland 5-Star just 2 years ago. He is Austin O'Connor, and he is with us this morning here on GCR. Austin, it's Glenn and Stan. Thank you so much for taking the time for us.
No worries, gentlemen. Good to speak.
It's great to speak with you, sir. And Austin, I imagine, given your success at the Maryland 5-Star a couple years ago, it is very exciting to come back here, right?
Yeah, it's wonderful. Obviously I had a great time here 2 years ago. This year I haven't brought a horse. I'm just sort of here enjoying myself, which is nice. But just to come back to Maryland, it's to the 5-Star. It's one of the best competitions in the world. What is
it about the Maryland 5-Star specifically, Austin? Right, when you guys found out that this event was happening, what was it that you knew about the area, and what were your expectations, and how did it live up to or surpass those expectations that you had for the event?
Well, it's certainly surpassed. It's in a very elite group of competitions in the sport of eventing. There's only six 5-Stars in the entire world. Maryland is now in its 5th year, and it's just getting better and better. from the get-go, it had a really good reputation. And certainly from our European riders that travelled in the first year or two, they came back with very, very, very good reports. And they said, it's one of 6 in the world, but it's probably in the top 2 or 3 in the world, to be perfectly honest.
Wow.
The standard of competition, it's the ultimate test of horse and rider. And the course, the terrain, and everything here in Maryland sort of just lends itself for it to be the perfect competition.
Let me just ask you about, it's sort of like every basketball court is uniform. So I'm assuming that the dressage and the show jumping on Sunday are uniform throughout wherever you would compete. But how difficult is it to come in kind of cold and familiarize yourself with a cross-country course?
Yeah, of course. As I say, when you've come in for the first time, luckily you're here sort of from last Monday. All the competitors are here, so you've got lots of familiarization time. You get to know the site. You're 100% right. You have to become familiar with the terrain, with the course. So most riders will walk the course probably 4 or 5 times, the actual cross-country course. So once you start on Saturday going cross-country, in theory, you know it like the back of your hand, or you should know it like the back of your hand.
Austin,
Um,
go ahead, Austin. Sorry.
no, obviously the dressage is taking place yesterday and today. So that's, as you said, that's the dancing horses. So on Thursday and Friday, you've got to be on your horses have got to be very well behaved, very settled, and perform as beautiful as you can in the dressage. But the real excitement here is then you get a score today, and you move on. You carry that score forward to the cross country tomorrow, and that's the main reason we all do the sport. Is the adrenaline rush and the excitement and the challenge of tomorrow is the big part.
That part to me, Austin O'Connor is with us on GCR. That part to me is fascinating, and I acknowledge I am married to an equestrian, but never at this level. She didn't compete like this. I see these jumps on this course, and I think you have to be some kind of psychopath. Like, you have to have a death wish to be doing these types of things. One, how do you get into it? How does this become normal? And do you ever approach one of these jumps and think, like, am I really about to do this? Maybe I need to reconsider my life choices.
Well, look, at the end of the day, I consider it to be able to compete at the elite level of this sport is truly a privilege. We're passionate about it. Do we question ourselves from time to time? Of course we do, but everybody does in every walk of life. But yeah, ultimately we are probably a little crazy and adrenaline junkies.
I think that's clear. I think you have to be in order to be able to do this. I don't think there's any choice. Austin,
Yeah.
what is it winning a 5-star? Can you explain that? Because I do still think there are people that hear this or even have gone to the event and said this is nice, but maybe don't understand how truly world changing it is. I know you've competed in Olympics. What does it mean within the sport to be the champion of a 5-star event?
Well, as I said, there's very few 5-stars in the world. It's the ultimate test of our sport, and it's taken. It takes a long, long, long time to get to that. There's years and years of training yourself, training the horse. I suppose not the sad thing, but you win one, it just makes you hungrier to go on and try and win another one. You don't rest on your laurels. But as I say, it's a great honor to be part of that elite group to win at the top of the sport.
I'm not comparing jockeys and riders in equestrian events like it's apples to apples, but in thoroughbred horse racing, while it's important to have knowledge of the horse you're riding, there's a lot of jockeys that just end up on horses because their agents know somebody or something, and it's very quick. How important in equestrian riding is the real true relationship between man or woman and the horse?
Oh, it's all about the relationship. It's very different to racing. Racing is a wonderful sport, and
Yeah.
it's very exciting, and it catches the imagination, so on, so on. But our sport, there's so much precision, so much training from the dressage point of view. Let's say in the Kentucky Derby, a lot of these horses are 4 or 5 year olds, and they're at the peak of their sport. In our sport, the horses don't really peak until they enter their teens.
Wow.
So, from a dressage, there's so much training goes into the dressage side of it, as I say, over a long, long period of time. Cross country, then I think the relationship between horse and rider is vital. You have to know each other inside out. They have to help us out. We have to help them out. And it's all very fast and very, it all happens very, very quickly. And then, of course, on the Sunday, we've got the show jumping phase, which is the finale, which is a complete different game again. So we've done our dressage, where it's all been nice, controlled, and dancing. The horse is dancing. Our crazy side comes out on the cross country, and then we've got to come back on the Sunday and jump a very big show jumping track, which is a complete different skill again. So we're having to cover so many areas.
I've never asked this question of a rider before. We know you bring up, the dressage part and the horse dancing. So we know you can do that. What if we just saw you like at a club on a Friday night? Austin, are you a good dancer when you're not on a horse?
No, terrible dancer. Terrible dancer. It's it's a bit like this. Yeah, as I say, it's a lot of training, and ultimately it's our partner and friend, the horse, is the real dancer.
The horse is doing all the real work.
The horse is doing all the real work.
Now,
Exactly.
I know you said you don't have a horse in this year, so you're not competing. But have you examined the cross country course, and how is it in comparison to the past couple years?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question, and it's one of the reasons I've come out here this year, sort of doing a little bit of a recce, looking forward to hopefully bringing a horse next year. So they've got a new course designer this year, a French chap called Pierre Le Goupelet, who actually designed the Olympic Games cross-country course in Versailles, Paris last year. So it's a new era for here. He certainly hasn't gone softer or made it any easier. He's put his own stamp on it. So there is changes, but it's still the ultimate 5-star cross-country test.
We are looking forward to seeing that tomorrow, and if you can't for some reason make it out, you can continue to watch all weekend on MPT. But we would really encourage you. Stan and I have both been out. It is an incredible event. It really.
Oh, I would certainly encourage everybody to come and see what goes on, because there's nothing like watching live sport, and you get up close and personal to these fences, and you get a real appreciation of what these guys are doing and have to do.
I agree.
And it's everything here is lovely. It's just a great day out.
And the talent is overwhelming. There's no question about it. Austin O'Connor, it's a pleasure to meet you. Hopefully, we'll be talking to you next year as you're getting ready to compete again in the Maryland 5-Star. But thank you for spending time with us this morning. We really enjoyed it.
No, thank you, and have a great weekend.
Thank you, sir.
Arthur.
Austin O'Connor.
Austin, I mean.
It's all right. It's all right. Austin O'Connor. I for some reason said he was Scottish earlier. He's, of course, Irish. Obviously, you could tell that. I don't know what's going on today. The monitor didn't work, and everything went to hell. Everything went to hell the moment the monitor didn't work.
This is why we come in early.
Yeah, but we didn't know we did.
The monitor was off the entire morning.
Yeah, but I wasn't looking at it because I had no reason to look at it.
I was
Griffin.
playing stuff, and I thought you were like, the whole
No.
time I thought you were watching.
No, I was not watching. Griffin's really worked up about the monitor. Like, this has ruined his day.
It seems like a Coulson issue.
Well, you think this
at
is
the end of the day?
Do you think maybe he sabotaged?
Well, we might have to. No, we might have to buy a new
Oh, yeah, that might
monitor.
that might be an issue. Might be a bit of a problem. Thank you to Austin
I
O'Connor.
think he sabotaged it.
Maryland 5-Star with the number 5, maryland5star.us to get your tickets. And it continues through Sunday out at Fairhill. And as we keep telling you, not just a world-class sporting event, but an opportunity to celebrate fall here in Maryland. The Corgi Cup, the ponies, as well as the Food and Wine Festival, great shopping, and so much more at the Maryland 5-Star. Let me go back into the conversation we were having, Stan.
Yeah.
You seem that you would be opposed to the idea of Albert Pujols.
Yeah, I am not in favor of even somebody with his cachet. I'm not in favor on this job of having another first-time manager. I think it was a very different situation when Brandon was brought in. We knew we were entering a phase of rebuild, and I personally still would not have fired Brandon Hyde at the time he was. I thought he deserved a chance to kind of see this through, because I think, and I don't know the dynamics of that front office any longer with this ownership, whether Mike was totally on board with that or he was following orders from David Rubenstein and Michael Arrighetti to move on. And I'm not 100% that Tony Mansolino deserves the job, but we have 106, 110 games of experience with Tony. I got to end up being very impressed with him. You know, I hear you with the big stick and the cachet, but I just don't understand the level of person that they're talking to right now. And I actually think that it's either been decided that Mansolino is going to be the next manager, or that they're just blowing smoke and they're talking to people privately.
So I've had a couple of opinions about that. Is, you know, my Mansolino opinion is not personal. I think I like Tony Mansolino. If he ends up being the manager, I'll root for him. My opinion is driven by the fact that the core group of players that the Orioles need in order to succeed moving forward were actually a little bit worse on the whole after Tony Mansolino became the manager. And I think that this job uniquely requires it's sort of like when a football team hires a coach and says, like Ben Johnson, it's your job. Caleb Williams has to work.
Yeah.
We will be judging you based on whether or not Caleb Williams works. You don't get to say, well, the quarterback was the problem. You have to make it work with this quarterback because we've invested that.
Right.
To me, it has to work with this group of guys. You've got to get the best that you possibly can out of this group of guys. And my judgment of Tony Mansolino is that didn't happen. He didn't get, again, even better. They were actually...
How would you judge him on, say, the failing of a Colton Cowser, or the fact that Heston Kjerstad ended up regressing?
It's a separate, because somebody would say, well, how do we know that's his fault? I don't know that it's his fault.
Right.
I don't know at all that it's his
Right.
fault. But what I know, we're doing chicken and the egg. To me, the fact that it didn't improve means I need somebody that can improve it. Whatever it is, you have to be responsible for fixing it if you're going to have this job. And so to me, that's why I would say I would not hire Tony Mansolino to the job, because it has to be
the way
someone.
you're describing how this has to work is really a very sort of it just speaks to the problem this organization is having, in my opinion. Maybe the problem is the players.
I don't doubt that it might very well be the players.
So,
but you're
if
not
you brought in Albert Pujols, and Colton Cowser still hits .210 and strikes out 37% of the time instead of 40. Is it Albert Pujols' fault, or is it ultimately the man who picked these players?
It's the way what you're bringing up 100%.
Yeah.
But this is somebody says, well, you can't fire the players, that's why you fire the manager. You're stuck. Unless the Orioles suddenly are going to be a team that's going to spend wild amounts of money to go out and get baseball players, these are the players.
Yeah.
And so the job, it's the similar argument that I make with Zach Orr, right? Like, everybody can tell me they feel better about, the defensive performance from a week ago. I still, if I were the Ravens, would have moved on from Zach Orr, because they're getting zero from the edge rush.
Yeah.
Nothing. And didn't get a single pressure from an edge rusher last week. They're not getting better in the edge rush department. So that's my reason for not – and somebody says, well, do you blame Zach Orr for that? Not even.
But it's his responsibility to scheme
the job
around
requires, it requires, this is what you have.
Yeah.
You have to make it work. And my fear is he can't make it work. And the answer might be no one can. But to me, I would give someone else the opportunity to do it, because if no one can, then the season's going to come unglued. The reality of the job to me is this is the group of guys, for now, that you're either going to win with or not. And you've got to prove that you can get elevated play out of those guys to be the manager of the team. And that's why the big stick part of it is significant to me, because I do think that part of this is you almost need to fear a God these guys a little bit to try to bring the best out of them moving forward. So I would still rather Bob Melvin than Albert Pujols, 100%. I still would prefer that you get an experienced, accomplished manager that has that type of cachet that these guys would listen to on day one. The question on the other side is the front office going to allow for a big stick manager? Someone who might push back when you say, here's how we're going to do things. I don't know if they will.
Based on your observations of Mike Elias over 7 years, do you think that this is it? It's Mansolino, Pujols, or Rojas?
I don't think it's it.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think
we're being misdirected, and it's either going to be Mansolino, and that's been decided, or it's going to be there's 3 or 4 other people they're talking to that we're not going to hear about,
or that they haven't even.
I don't have a great trust with Mike's honesty with the media.
I don't even know if it's honesty with them. Maybe that's a different way of saying it.
Transparency.
Right? Yeah. Like, because I don't think he's lying about anything. I don't think he's come out and said.
But he understands that not saying anything about something is not lying.
Correct.
But it's a subterfuge.
Oh, I think he would prefer if we didn't know who any of the candidates were.
Even once they're hired.
Right. Yeah. Yes, I think he might prefer that. Right. And to the point, it might very well be that
this is a guy who's been the president of baseball operations for 7 months.
And we found out about it 7 weeks ago, right?
And not by him.
No, not at all. I would think that it's totally possible there's 2 to 3 other legitimate candidates that have already been down the road, and we just still don't know about them because they've been told don't say a word to anyone. The argument might be that the reason why we found out about these is because maybe they know they're not getting the job. And so that's how I don't know. But I think it's totally plausible that they've talked to 2 to 3 other candidates to this point, and they've said, you better keep tight lips. We have no interest in this being a public story about who we chose. And part of that, what Mike Elias, if we really truth serumed him, he might say, guys, I don't want you to talk to me about who I didn't get as the manager. I don't want to be asked a question in a press conference about why I chose X over X or why so-and-so didn't get the job. I want it to be that there was only ever one candidate and one person, so we got the exact person that we wanted in the process. And I know you and I talked about it kind of privately last week, but for the sake of investment, it is good for there to be candidates because now we have something to talk about. And that gets people talking about the Orioles, and it drives a little interest in a time where otherwise, why in the world would we be talking about the Orioles? And that's something that Mike Elias doesn't really care about in his world.
Yeah, and I think it's a big miss by the organization. I think, I come from an age where I did talk radio, and I never covered the beat every day in the locker room, but there was always information circulating, It's kind of like this whole thing with Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War or whatever it is called now, how he wants people to sign a pledge,
right?
So basically, what we're trying to turn
you're not
military and the relationship with the press is
PR.
The PR,
Correct.
It's just PR. I don't want it to be that. I think there's a value in people calling talk shows and saying, wow,
having opinions.
They're talking to Bob Melvin. But this team a long time ago, and I go back to the post-game show, nothing against the people doing it, when the station that had the games and the Orioles were real partners, where Tom Davis and Dave Johnson were doing that show where they didn't take calls for about 7 years. They didn't want, this is the Angelos regime, and this regime, I don't think they think things like that through. They just inherited that. But they don't want calls. They don't want the potential for negativity.
And Stan, I would say that's getting more and more common throughout sports, right? Like, I don't think it's unique anymore to the Orioles. I think that.
But I'd like to say that the job I did for 10, 12 years following Oriole games had a value to the team and its fans.
This is a topic that goes so far beyond. Stan, I've had this direct conversation with people involved in both organizations, and their point is we don't want our players to tune in to our network and then to be angry at us about something that was said about them on our network. The Ravens would say, remember, John Harbaugh got into a fight with Brent Harris in a preseason game, and essentially the concept was John didn't like that Brent asked even a semi-difficult question because we're supposed to in this forum be coworkers.
Right.
You're not a member of the media right now. You're an employee of the Baltimore Ravens, and you're supposed to be on board. And he had to go, teary-eye apologize to Brent Harris in the press conference that week. And it was it was a nothing. I don't remember what the question was, but it was
I don't remember.
so irrelevant, and it was outrageous the way that John reacted to it. But that's all. Then let's do less of this. Let's do less and less. There's not going to be a call-in show. There's not going to be a big and
it's when teams started their own websites and competed with us.
Correct.
And really weren't competing. All the advantages went to the in-house organization.
And took away the critical eye, took away that part of it. I agree with you wholeheartedly that there is value. People want that. I've actually said this to teams before. Like, people are going to complain about the team. That's not going to go away.
Right.
You could monetize it. Like, you could also own that and say, hey, if you want to talk about the team, negative or positive, you can do it here. You could monetize the complaints about the team. But they don't have any interest in that. It's a much broader, sports business conversation that a lot of people are having at the moment that fascinates me. I agree with you that I don't think the negatives of there being known candidates for a job, the idea that you chose somebody over somebody else and might have to answer a question about that. Mike Elias is a smart guy.
Yeah.
If that's the question that comes up,
he handles himself very well once he's out in front of us.
If you're in a press conference and let's just say that it was Bob Melvin and Luis Rojas, and the Orioles hire Luis Rojas, and all right, let's go to the Stan Charles from Press Box, and Stan says, Mike.
What
Mike,
the F did you do?
Mike, I was just wondering, Bob Melvin's a very experienced candidate and would bring a lot and played here. Why would you choose Luis Rojas over Bob Melvin? Which, by the way, I'm going to guess you wouldn't even do that at the press conference introducing Luis Rojas.
Yeah, right in front of Luis
Rojas. Right, like I'm going to guess you would. But let's just say you did.
Yeah.
Then
I wouldn't do that.
I know. I don't think you would. But Mike Elias is a smart enough man to say,
even though Luis Rojas won't talk to me.
Correct. Well, I don't know if that's true or not. He might very well talk to you.
I know it.
Oh, wow, that's rough. But Mike would just say, Stan, this was the guy we wanted all along.
Right.
We got the guy we wanted. This was the best candidate for the job. So what would the negative be of us finding out that there was another candidate for the job?
Right.
That's the part that I can't shake that. I think there are other candidates. I don't think it's this. I just think these are the only ones that we know about because of outside reporting about these two in particular. And I'm guessing that came from other teams that gave that information. I say this all the time. Whenever I tell you anything about the Ravens, I didn't get it from the Ravens.
Well, if you noticed, I think both the Pujols and the Rojas thing were reported by John Heyman.
Pujols came from Passan and Alden Gonzalez.
Okay.
From ESPN.
I'm guessing that Rojas is represented by Scott Boras.
Maybe, yeah.
Because that's where Heyman gets 90% of his stuff.
It's interesting. I would say that it's possible that, like, the Pujols report could be that somebody checked in with the Angels and said, hey, I figured he'd be the manager by now.
Right.
And somebody at the Angels said, well, he wants to talk to the Orioles too, or something like that. And then they said, oh, well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
He's a candidate for the Orioles job, and that's where it came from. Stan's in studio with us on a Friday. Today's show is also brought to you by, or you know what? It's brought to you by Stan. Because every Monday, Stan's getting together with Ross Grimsley and Luke Jackson talking baseball through the end of the playoffs.
Through the end of the World Series, yeah.
So you'll be doing it
We're getting closer and closer.
Next Friday will be Game 1 of the World Series, no matter when these series end.
Yeah.
So we
So
now
they
know.
both end in the next 2 days.
Well,
Okay.
at least we know that it's going to go through Sunday.
Right.
And I guess if there's a Game 7 in the American League, then it would be Monday. So
Are they going 1-1-1 or are they? Is it
they're doing two. The
Okay.
Game 5's tonight
In Seattle.
in Seattle,
And
and
then
then
goes to
Sunday and
Toronto,
Monday
right.
in Toronto.
Okay, got it. So it's 2-3.
Yes,
Okay.
2-3-2.
There is an off day Sunday in the American League, right?
Yes, Saturday.
Saturday.
Tomorrow is the off day.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's Sunday, Monday, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Sunday, Monday would be 6 and
So
7.
there's no game at all on Saturday.
Yeah.
Well, unless if somehow the Brewers were to
the
win
Brewers.
tonight,
Oh,
then
okay.
the Game
You're right.
5 would be tomorrow.
Yeah,
but
they won't.
it don't look good. It don't look like that's happening.
Are they even trying?
So Stan, they're not trying to score. I know that much. Stan will be doing a show through the end of the World Series with Ross and Luke. Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, and it's always brought to you by the Costas Inn.
With two great locations, the old standard location, 4100 North Point Boulevard, where you can get your steamed crab fix, 410-477-1975, or the new location with everything on the menu, except possibly.
Well, there's some controversy there.
There's a lot of controversy. Ross Grimsley says he's had pork chops there. I never see him on the menu.
It's possible they just like Ross better than you, Stan.
Is it because Grimsley's more of a VIP?
It might be that.
It might be.
You know, how many games did you win?
That's a
Well, in fantasy camp, I know you won. You won a few games.
I won the championship.
Yeah, but in the bigs,
I did
how
win
many
the
games did
championship.
you win?
Anyway, the Great Costas Inn, the second location, Timonium Racecourse above the grandstand, right next to the OTB.
When we come back in, I've heard a lot of people talk about how inspired they were by the old guys last night. And by the way, it wasn't just in football, in baseball. Look at Max Scherzer, right? Nearly murdered John Schneider when John Schneider tried to take him out of the game. John Schneider actually said that. He's like, I thought he was going to kill me. But a big night for the old guys, but maybe it's good to be inspired by the old guys. Maybe one perhaps taking it too far. I'll tell you about that on the other side. Stan's here, Friday edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
Game day hits different with Live Casino's Big Plays, Big Pays hot seats. Head to Sports and Social on select Sundays and Mondays in October. We'll draw 10 hot seat winners every hour. When the home team scores, we'll double the prize pool. Plus, we'll give away $50 Sports and Social gift cards with every touchdown. Watch and win at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with two great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Looking for Baltimore's premier waterfront dining experience? Head to Nick's Fish House, located in the Baltimore Peninsula. Enjoy crabs all year long, plus happy hour Monday through Thursday from 3 to 6. Planning a celebration? From rehearsal dinners to corporate crab feasts, Nick's is the spot to make it unforgettable. And the fun doesn't stop there. Live music fills the air every Thursday through Sunday. Check out the full lineup at nicksfishhouse.com. Nick's, it's where Baltimore comes to eat, drink, and play by the water.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
It was awesome. I thought he was going to kill me. It was great. He locked eyes with me, both colors as I walked out. And it's not fake. That's the thing. It's not fake. He has this Mad Max persona, but he backed it up tonight. So it was, the infielders had a good laugh too out there, and he got the job done.
That was John Schneider, courtesy of FS1 and MLB Network. Blue Jays manager talking about Max Scherzer seemingly ready to fist fight him, as he came out in the 5th inning to try to pull Max Scherzer, and Max Scherzer politely disagreed.
It was awesome. I thought he was going to kill me.
Yeah, right.
Interesting phrase, yeah.
Scherzer not only finished the 5th inning, but went back out to start the 6th, finished with 5 2/3. Tyler Glasnow didn't look all that happy when he got pulled in the other game. It was funny because, so who was doing that game? That was TBS. So who's doing those games?
Anderson, Darling
and
Frenchie.
Frank Core. So one of them, I don't remember how it was arranged. Somebody said, "Oh, he doesn't look very happy," and I don't remember who he had just walked, but there were 2 outs in
Darling,
the 6th.
Yeah, and he was like, we were wondering how long the leash would be.
Yeah, and it turns out it's 1 walk and one base runner, and Darling said, "Well, don't walk." I don't remember who it was.
Maybe it was the 9-hitter. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he
who
was
it
incredulous about it. So it was pretty funny. Anyway, Stan's here. Friday edition of GCR. Today's show also brought to you by County Sports Zone. CountySports.zone is the website for you to find out everything you need to know about high school sports in the state of Maryland. They've got you covered, scores, schedules, all of it. CountySports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. So, Stan, everybody's raving about the old guys last night.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Flacco, Aaron Rodgers, out there dueling, 2 40-year-old men battling on a football field.
Right.
But 40's really not all that old.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
let's be fair.
Exactly.
Right?
You're like 40.
I'm
right?
42, and I
Right.
definitely could play an NFL game right now. I think everybody knows
Since you
that.
started doing the peptides.
100%. Peptide proteins.
Yep.
Thank you, Game Day Men's Health. I'm getting right out there. Well, I
You
hope
think I could play a game if I started with the peptides?
It's funny. I wanted to ask you about that, Stan. You are how many years young currently?
73.
73 years young.
Yep.
13 years ago.
Yes.
Do you feel like you could have played football?
No.
No? No. You don't think you could have played football 13
Come on,
years
Stan.
ago?
I bet you could.
You don't think you could have?
Like against who?
Well, I mean, let's say like a college.
Derrick Henry or something?
Could you have played college football
No.
13 years
No.
ago?
I had my cervical fusion 13. Now, 14 years ago.
You would have been good.
Yeah.
All right.
Great.
Well, I don't think that this gentleman has had cervical fusion, although we could find out. Because, Stan, would you believe there is a 60-year-old set to play college football this weekend?
A 6-year-old?
60.
Oh, 60
year
Which one
old.
would be more impressive?
I don't know which one would be more impressive. Probably the 6-year-old. Yeah. A 60-year-old man is slated to dress for the Green Terror of McDaniel College.
Wow.
Tomorrow,
what position
when they
does
play
he play?
Muhlenberg, he's a defensive lineman named Tom Green. Not the old TV Tom Green, the guy that was in Charlie's Angels. Not that gentleman, Mr. Ex-Mr. Drew Barrymore. A different Tom Green from the Baltimore Sun. This is Tom Green is McDaniel's newest defensive lineman. He's trying to become one of the oldest athletes in NCAA history to play college football. Quote, I just want to show them age is just a number, unquote, Green said. Green never played a snap of high school football, much less college. And while he did play semi-professional football in Maryland from 1988 to 1992, the Westminster resident is much older and slower than he was in his 30s. There are injury risks, health concerns, and questions about the legitimacy of his playing at McDaniel. His family, quote, thinks I'm crazy.
And I agree.
Unquote.
Yeah, I agree.
Kind of hard to argue with the idea that Tom Green might be crazy trying to play college football at the age of 60.
Why in the world would McDaniel, and I understand McDaniel's historically not like a powerhouse in Division III, why would they need a 60-year-old?
I don't know that they need him. I don't know that's the case. So as the story goes on, he needed to get into college, so he had to take some community college classes to earn admission. That culminated in an acceptance to McDaniel. He met with Coach Skylar Foltz and persuaded him to allow him to walk on for the Green Terror if he completed the proper steps. It played out like a scene from Rudy, only with a 6-year-old in Westminster instead of a young Sean
60.
Astin.
You keep saying you do.
No, I don't
6.
say. It just sounds like I'm saying 60. I promise.
Stan, you're right. He did say
No,
6.
I didn't. You're just hearing that. I don't know what to make of this.
Is there any rumors that the Orioles are talking to Mr. Green about the managerial position?
I don't think that's the case. I want to say it's an inspiring story.
Yeah, but it's not really.
I don't know if it is or if it isn't.
Well, the fact that he had so many health issues, I think that makes it.
Yeah, like good. I'm good for him and continue to be active and all of those things, but I don't know how I feel about any of this. I don't know how I feel about it.
I wonder what the deal was, whether he had to sign some certain waivers for injury purposes. I mean, I can't imagine the school would want to take on the risk of severe injury to a 60-year-old.
I don't know what the story was.
Or I don't know, maybe he's definitely earned this opportunity. He's going to come up with a couple tackles.
And he's going to
he's going
to prove to be a 60-year-old man is as good as a 18-year-old man. I don't know, but that could be something that could occur tomorrow at McDaniel College as a 60-year-old man. So now you feel so good about all hyping up the old men. Now we got 60-year-olds trying to play college football.
Oh, so you think it's a
problem? I might try a comeback now.
It might be time for you.
Yeah.
It might be time. I can ask Ed Hoddle out at Stevenson, see if.
I'm sure Ed wants me on his team.
Ed, what do you think? What do you think?
Maybe as like holder, maybe Stan. Look at that. I'm trying to think of
that
what
would be a
you
good
could
position
do.
for a 60-year-old, the holder.
That would be a better position than
the snapper.
But like sometimes the holders do also have to get involved in the play.
Right. Well, I mean, assuming you've got sure hands, which Stan.
Do you?
I have small
hands.
Yeah.
Well, sure hands.
Like if the ball's coming,
my hands are steady.
Okay.
You know,
you're catching the ball every time.
I could perform brain surgery.
Could you?
Yes.
Could you, Stan? I don't know if I believe that. I don't know.
I would trust.
Yeah, that's sort of where.
Let's open you up later today.
Try. You're gonna test out. See how it goes.
I have a special operation that I do for the brains of producers.
Yeah.
Did you know that I worked on Kyle Ottenheimer?
Things make a lot more sense now. I have a greater understanding of a lot of things now that I've learned that information. I want to hear a little bit more from Joe Flacco. I mentioned at the top that I really enjoyed introspective Joe Flacco after the game last night. I spent time listening to his post-game press conference, and I genuinely got a kick out of it. And two clips in particular that I just want to share because I thought they were really great answers. One was, like, he was just asked about, this is weird, right? Like, you're in Cincinnati, a place where you haven't typically been popular over the years. And his answer about it was really thoughtful about his experience now having the fans in Cincinnati who have hated him from the majority of his career, then chanting his name last night.
These used to be hostile confines, and now they're cheering "Let's go Flacco" as you're heading down the final drive. How did that feel for you? For them to kind of turn the key so quickly to support you?
Yeah, well, listen, I turn it quickly. They turn it quickly. You're in it. Like I feel like that's what fans do. They want their football team to win, and it just so happens that I'm the guy right now that's behind the center. The same thing with players. Like, yeah, you're loyal to the guys that you're in the locker room with, and you're loyal to the game of football, and you really enjoy playing in these cities. I mean, there's such. I feel so fortunate to have been able to now play in so many different cities and just see the different people and how they react. It gives you a new appreciation for these fans. Like, I honestly never really loved coming here and playing. Now that was unbelievable tonight, and Cincinnati would kind of put it on us, I feel like, most of my career, especially when we came here. So I didn't necessarily love here, but now I get to have a new perspective, at least for tonight. And the fans, I mean, even just around town, they've been great.
Yeah, it's just a cool perspective on that. Like, you just don't get to hear players talking about a lot, right? Like, admittedly, my entire perspective has been, I don't really like going there. And then I get to experience this, and now I'm going to think about this anytime I think about Cincinnati for the rest of my life. And, we want to think of Joe Flacco as our guy, and eternally Joe Flacco will be remembered forever as a Raven, more so than he'll be remembered as any of these stops that he's made at the end of his career.
He goes on, win a Super Bowl with the Bengals this year?
Maybe.
I thought, I'm looking at his Pro Football reference page. I thought he played for Philadelphia briefly.
He was on the roster.
Yeah.
Just might not have played. But he was definitely on the roster.
But it doesn't have them as one of the teams he played.
Well, I don't think he's had stats. Yeah, I don't think he had stats.
Can you name the teams he played for?
Broncos, Jets, Eagles, Browns, Colts, Bengals,
Ravens.
Well, yeah.
There you go. Okay.
All right.
Cleveland and Cincinnati.
Yeah. But I don't know. There's something about that I like. You could tell he's genuinely getting a kick out of it. Like, it's not forced with him right now. It's not. These are great. Like, it's a genuine response about what these experiences mean to him, which
you have more of an appreciation from a look into 30,000 feet view when your time in the game is nearing an end.
And his experience is so unique, I think, because none of this has been assumed. This has all been kind of stolen money for him at the end of his career. The other one that I enjoyed, he beat the Steelers last night. Joe Flacco now 12-11 all time as in the regular season against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's pretty good.
It's impressive considering who the Steelers are.
Yeah.
In the same time frame, no other quarterback has more than 7 wins against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and of course he got to play them twice a year for a few years. So that gave him additional opportunities. But remember, Mike Tomlin was losing his mind earlier in the week about the idea.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, it turns out he knew exactly what he was talking about the idea that the Browns traded Joe Flacco within the division. And I'll still, because I know that people in Cleveland are losing it again today.
What did they give up for him?
5th round pick.
That's about what I would have thought.
Once the Browns made the move to
But not even, they got a 6th back.
It's true, it's a pick swap. Once the Browns made the move to Dylan Gabriel, they weren't going back to Joe Flacco.
Right.
If it doesn't work out with Dylan Gabriel, they're going to go to Shador.
Yeah.
So there is no, if they could get anything for Joe Flacco, it made sense.
Yeah.
Now, you want to question why they ever started with Joe Flacco. Like, that's a different debate. But I'm not going to second guess the decision to trade him. Once they went to Dylan Gabriel, they weren't going back. And Joe Flacco wasn't going to be doing, he's got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins in Cincinnati. That doesn't exist in Cleveland.
What's going to happen in Cleveland with Deshaun Watson? He's apparently like a month away from being able to play.
Is that I hadn't heard that it was a month away from being able to play.
NFL Network.
I hadn't heard that it was to be able to play. I thought maybe from being clear.
With Burrow?
No, Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson.
Oh.
No practice window yet for Deshaun Watson.
Okay, I thought I heard that on NFL Network.
Hang on a second. Hang on. I'm not. Where? Let me get this. I'm trying to read through, but of course it's some bogus slime story where you got to. ESPN's Adam Schefter reported earlier in the week that Watson is a good month away from being cleared for football activity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought. from being cleared for football activity.
Does he have any value to anyone? I don't expect Cleveland to really, but they'd have to pick up that contract.
It's the part of the the argument is that Cleveland's the only place where if you're stuck with the contract,
right, you may as well.
Maybe you let him run out there, and if Dylan Gabriel falls flat on his face and Shedeur Sanders falls flat on his face in November, then you get to December and Deshaun Watson's like, well, I'm healthy enough to play. Maybe you say, we're stuck with him. Might as well play him and see if he's got anything to offer. Because at this point, we're assuming they're going to have to take a quarterback in the first round of the draft. But, boy, that is a disaster. Joe Flacco was asked about his history going up against the Steelers, and especially given what Mike Tomlin had said earlier on the week, his relationship with Mike Tomlin. And, again, like a really thoughtful answer from Joe Flacco last night about that.
But what was it like proving him right with his comments earlier in the week, wondering why you were traded?
Listen, I have so much respect for Mike and the battles that we've had, in Pittsburgh, in Baltimore. I played
all right, then.
Last year in Indianapolis. I always find a way to play them. I love playing them. And I didn't really feel that way to begin with. I didn't love going into Heinz Field, and, my rookie year, they beat us 3 times, but those games against those guys, like in my career, those games have been different than others, and just the physicality and the energy. And Mike's been doing it so long and has those guys ready to play every single week for so long now. Nothing but respect for him and how he gets those guys ready, and I love going against them. And, when I look back on it all, it's the wins and the losses. I love all the games. Honestly, when I tell stories, a lot of the great stories come from some of the losses and the bad games you had. And with him and with them, there's plenty of those.
I don't know what it is. I could listen to Joe Flacco do a podcast right now about all this. Just the perspective to me is, it's really cool to hear on this side him. I love it.
Be an interesting guy in the Baltimore broadcast booth.
So
for Ravens,
we had a conversation about that this morning on BAL. Like I have said before, Joe has no other interests. It's part of why he's still playing football right now. He'll tell you openly, there's nothing else that I want to do.
He's got 5 kids.
But there's no other. He doesn't get excited about the idea of broadcasting or coaching or like he just does. He wants to play football, and then we'll see. But the more you hear him, the more I hear the same. Like, man, he would be really good as a broadcaster.
Yeah, he's very insightful,
and
this is different. Listening to him now,
it's so funny too, Stan, because I had the fortune of having a lot of conversations with Joe over the years, and I always thought he was more interesting than people gave him credit for. Once you started talking to him, like in these press conferences, there's I don't know, you get a lot of that and a lot of dismissive. But once you engaged and got into a conversation with him, you could really get him talking, and he could be fascinating. Like, he one time started riffing with me about how frustrated he got about how much ESPN talked about Tim Tebow. He was like, all we're doing is winning all of our games, and we're the best team in football, and all they want to do is talk about Tim Tebow. And don't get me wrong, like, I got no issue with Tim, but his point then, which now is prescient, is like, but how is that helping? Like, football fans don't know anything about what's going on. All they know about is what Tim Tebow is doing.
Right.
Yeah. And like now, we completely see all NBA season starts next Tuesday, and all anyone's going to talk about is LeBron James, who frankly is not likely to have anything to do with how the NBA season is going to play out. I get it.
Well, not until November when he's healthy.
No, like in the end, it's very unlikely. And I know Luka Doncic is amazing, and got to the finals with the worst Mavericks team, but it would be incredibly surprising for them to be able to get to the NBA finals. But that's all they're going to talk about because it's celebrity. We're going to talk about the famous person. The Oklahoma City Thunder are by far and away the best team in the NBA.
Right now,
but they're boring. They don't have any celebrities on their
Oklahoma City.
Right. And so they're not really going to get any coverage, despite the fact that Barkley went off about it. It's hilarious now he's on ESPN because last year he went off about it. Said on ESPN all you're going to hear about is the Lakers and Warriors. Mm-hmm. And those teams have nothing to do with how this NBA season is going to play out. Mm-hmm. And he's right. And like Joe brought that up, this would have been 14 years ago. What year was the Tebow phenomenon?
11, 12.
Yeah, and
this was the year right before the Super Bowl run.
Yeah. And he was like, this is hurting
when the Ravens should have. Yeah.
the knowledge of the casual sports fan because they don't know what's actually happening. They just know what this celebrity is doing. Joe's a fascinating cat, man. Like, once you get him going, and now he's 40, and he's just like, I'm just going to talk. I'm just going to share with you how I'm feeling.
Cover story for Press Box. Fascinating cat.
I really think it's and this is the same guy, again, whose own father labeled him as painfully dull.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Flacco. Warned us when Joe Flacco was drafted, you're not going to like it. You're not going to like covering my son. He's painfully dull. And yet, he has become a really interesting dude, man. He's obviously living an interesting football journey. I enjoyed that from Joe Flacco last night. Today's show is also brought to you by the new print issue of Press Box. Stan, we got a great new issue available right now.
Yeah. Penned by Don Marcus.
Yeah, great cover story from Don Marcus about Jim Smith, the new athletic director at the University of Maryland.
Don's not willing to come on with me?
Yes. I mean,
I guess so.
I don't know what's going on over there.
Talks nicely with me when I hire him.
I got to stop throwing your name around so much.
The print issue is available. We got new locations for this print issue of Press Boxes. You can find this print issue at your Baltimore area High's Dairy Store.
Where they also have great coffee, great ice cream.
Yes.
And gasoline.
That's correct. And other things, too. They have other things.
Don't confuse the coffee and gasoline. But
right, correct. Yeah, don't put the coffee in the car and drink the gasoline. I don't disagree with that.
Well, really, do you have to warn people there's no pumps for coffee?
Stan, we live in an interesting time, my
We
friend.
live in a society.
We live in a strange time.
We live in a society?
A great print issue and a great story from Don Marcus. Lots of college basketball. Meet players from the programs around the state as the season will get underway in the next couple of weeks. You can go pick that up for free today at your neighborhood Baltimore area High's Dairy Store. And if you need to figure out where you can go get it, you can go to pressboxonline.com/find, and that'll point you to where you can pick up the print issue of Press Box. Why don't we do this? Why don't we go ahead and do a tidbit, and then we'll get tubular, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll talk Derrick Henry. We're not going to talk Derrick Henry.
All
Sorry,
right, cool.
I don't know where my mind just went. I've been up.
Well, there's some connections.
I've been up since 3:30
You could get there,
this
I think.
morning. I'm very sorry, and I still have
Derrick Henry.
I still have 2 more jobs to work today.
Used to play in Tennessee,
and a parents mixer to attend at school tonight.
Just skip that. What happens at a parents?
Trust me, I've already attempted to get out of that.
What
a
happens
few
at
times.
parents mixers?
You go there.
You have to go to the school.
Yeah, I have to go to the kids'
On
school
a Friday night.
On a Friday night.
Why is this not like this is a Tuesday night thing for sure?
Griffin.
Do the kids go to those?
No, these are for the parents to mingle and get to know each other and interact, and it's a fundraiser for the school. Like we're not already paying them money.
This sounds like I don't know. Or
Mrs. Clark is going to be doing some drinking, and I'm going to be.
That's why it's a Friday night.
Yeah,
You're going to be doing some sleeping. What
not
time do you have to
terrible
get
night.
up tomorrow?
I don't have anything in the morning tomorrow. I'm okay. I'm okay tomorrow, but
So you can get up at like 6.
yeah, correct. Really sleep in. Really give myself a treat and sleep in. All right, let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you today by Game Day Men's Health in Owings Mills, Frederick, and Columbia. Stan was talking about peptide treatment earlier. It's been great for me. It's really helped me out a lot. I thought maybe I was low T. I went and got a free testosterone test from Game Day Men's Health. It turns out I'm super T. I'm Mr. T. But I'm still feeling sluggish and run down, and the peptide treatment has done wonders for me in that department. Hasn't helped my brain. I still sometimes say things like Derrick Henry's coming up. I
was excited. I was like, oh, all right.
But it has helped me feel better, and that's the part that matters most. They also, if you are dealing with erectile dysfunction problems, performance issues in the bedroom, if you are dealing with stubborn belly fat that just won't come off, this is the place to turn to. It's a safe place that, Stan, they can help you. They got you. And I know you go swimming, and I know you go for walks, and I know you work hard, but you're just a man of a certain age, and that's the way it goes.
Man, I'm
yeah,
old,
they got you at Game Day Men's Health. 443-264-4454 in Owings Mills, 443-266-3505 in Columbia, 240-931-3717 in Frederick.
3 touchdowns for Joe last night against the Steelers, and the last time that he threw 3 touchdowns against the Steelers,
he was a Baltimore Raven.
He was, yeah.
I mean,
14 years ago, 2011, the 2011 season opener when they beat the Steelers 35. Yeah, the 35-7 game.
Yeah.
He also is now tied for the most touchdowns all time thrown against the Steelers.
Most touchdowns all time thrown against the Steelers. He's tied for the most.
Yes, 30.
All right. How about Carson Palmer?
Carson Palmer is only 10th. 21 from Carson Palmer.
How about... Boy, this is interesting. How about who else would be a division? Well, they were in a different division.
Yeah, it's weird. So the third,
Steve McNair.
Steve McNair is 10th on the list. Yeah, he's tied with Carson Palmer.
How about Ken Anderson?
Not Ken
Good
Anderson.
I like that.
Where would Ken Anderson
Don't
be?
like it at all. It's a terrible guess, Stan. I can't believe it. How about Andy Dalton?
Andy Dalton's right there with Carson Palmer. He's
What
a 20.
the hell?
Yeah, he's a 20.
Mark Brunell.
No Mark Brunell. Yeah, it's weird. So the third guy third on the list with 27, he was a Washington football player, Washington quarterback.
Joe Theismann?
No.
Mark Rippon?
Billy Kilmer.
No.
Doug Williams?
No.
What the hell?
Mark Rippon.
70s. No, not Rippon.
70s.
The 70s?
Yeah.
Sonny Jurgensen.
Sonny Jurgensen, 27 touchdowns.
Were they ever in the division? I guess they just, I don't know.
That's played enough. I don't know.
That's weird. All right.
They had to be.
Who was he with
they were in
before
the
Washington?
same division as Pittsburgh.
No, they don't have to
be. But
it would seem as though if you played them twice a year, that would.
He
what
was
about
on Jurgensen started on Philly and then he moved. Then he was with Washington. Yeah.
What about Boomer?
Boomer's not in the top 5.
Oh my God!
Sorry, I just clicked out.
Who are these people?
They had.
I'm assuming they're in the division.
The guy tied with Joe, no.
Tom Brady.
Yep. Tom Brady and Joe Flacco, each 30 touchdowns against the Steelers. And if you want to round out the top 4, the guy with 25, right behind Sonny Jurgensen.
Is he in the division?
No, I don't think he was.
How about Howard Conway?
Maybe I don't know the divisions quite as well.
How about Randall Cunningham?
No, not Randall
Warren
Cunningham.
Moon.
Warren Moon, 25 touchdowns against
They
the
would have been.
man.
They would have been in the division in the Central.
It was
together.
with
when
the
he was in
Oilers?
Houston, yes.
Okay.
When he was in Houston, he would have been in a division.
Other names on the list here ahead of Carson Palmer and Andy Dalton and Steve McNair. Brian, is it Sipe? Brian Sipe.
Yikes.
Frank Ryan, Norm Snead, Charlie Connerly.
Who'd you say after that?
Frank Ryan.
Dr. Frank Ryan.
Okay.
Norm Snead.
Is it Frank Ryan out there? Is that who you're waving to?
Charlie.
Barry Silverman.
Oh, okay.
Let me make sure because he's looking for.
Oh, he's looking for us.
Oh,
okay.
All right.
Okay.
You having lunch?
No. He's
okay. If you wanted to round at the top 10, because I did make it since 1980. So yeah, so Brunell, Boomer Esiason, all in the top 10. Jeff Blake, Joe Burrow rounds out the top 10 since 1980.
Very good. Very good. Here's what's coming up totally tubular-wise. Tubular is brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel. The best place to spend your bye week is Inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. 100-foot media wall, all the games, great atmosphere, great food, everything you could ask for, just steps away from the FanDuel Sportsbook. And don't forget, no Project Game Day this Sunday, obviously, with the Ravens being off, but we'll be back next Sunday, PressBoxOnline.com/GameDay. Myself, Rita, KZ, former Ravens linebacker Tyus Bowser, Stecca, maybe, Griffin for sure. All that next Sunday, Project Game Day, all brought to you by 1-800-GAMBLER, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, the Costa Sin, Live Casino and Hotel, and Game Day Men's Health. Here's what's coming up this weekend. Baseball tonight. Chance for the Dodgers to sweep out the Brewers. That's the late game tonight, 8:38 on TBS, Game 4. We know Shohei Ohtani's on the mound. I don't think the Brewers have announced an opener yet for tonight. Fox Sports 1, Game 5 of the ALCS. All of a sudden, very pivotal as the Blue Jays are trying to make history. Kevin Gausman goes for the Jays against Bryce Miller, who was obviously great in Game 1 for Seattle. 5-star coverage starts at 2 o'clock today on MPT. Tomorrow, Maryland at UCLA, 7 o'clock on Fox Sports 1. Stevenson and Hopkins are home tomorrow.
And that's now a 2.5 point spread?
I believe that is correct.
Yeah,
yes.
UCLA is favored by
yes,
2.5.
correct. Nobody else. Towson's off tomorrow. Morgan's off tomorrow. Navy's off tomorrow. Of course, the Ravens are off this week. It's a weird week where a lot of local teams on bye. Maryland soccer, red hot there at Ohio State tomorrow at noon on Big Ten Network. More 5-star coverage tomorrow at 1:30 on MPT. The Baltimore Running Festival is tomorrow. Starts at 7:30 a.m. on WBAL. If there's a Game 5 between the Brewers and Dodgers, it's tomorrow night at 8:08 on TBS, but most of us seem to think there will not be. Sunday, the local games you can watch in the NFL. NFL Network from London, Rams-Jaguars, 9:30 a.m. CBS, Raiders-Chiefs, 1 o'clock. Fox, Eagles-Vikings at 1. Commanders-Cowboys at 4:25. NBC, Falcons-49ers at 8:20.
I wanted Browns-Dolphins. That's gonna be game of the week.
That's the one.
Well, it's gonna be 60-mile-per-hour winds.
That's right. And so
there's
people are
a
joking.
horrible storm coming.
The jokes are that Tua might throw a ball into the lake. Might end up happening that way. Fox Sports 1 on Sunday night for Game 6 of Mariners Blue Jays at 8:03. The Maryland 5-star concludes at 2 on Sunday on MPT.
I just can't wait for fastest 3 minutes, and we get the someone's lined up a field goal, and it just goes whoop. Yeah. It's just gonna get blown out. Good.
What
no
happened
good.
to this week in the rest?
Well, there's only so much happening in baseball right now, Stan. What else would we talk about?
Managerial
well, we
search?
talked about that. So what else would we talk about?
Glenn doesn't like baseball. That's why he shortened the show.
We talked about baseball today. Non-sports, anything?
There's a Martin Scorsese documentary on Apple TV Plus, Mr. Scorsese. So if anyone's into that, yeah, check it out. A couple candidates for book clubbers. The Perfect Neighbor, that one's obviously.
Oh right, yeah, we're gonna do that next.
Yes, like made using body cam footage of people are complaining about somebody and then something bad happens.
Huh?
Yeah.
All
I don't
right.
know a whole lot about it. It looks very. It looks.
It's got to be better than the
compelling.
last one we watched.
I binged a series on Prime called The Countdown.
What is it about?
It's interesting.
Okay.
It's a task force type of thing.
All right. Anybody in it?
Countdown.
Jessica Camacho.
I don't know Jessica Camacho.
Hey, did you watch War of the Worlds?
No, but I did watch last night. I started watching The Last Frontier.
I don't know that
That's
either.
a wild.
All
That is
right.
wild. It's on Apple.
All right.
I want you to watch War of the Worlds. There's that Ice Cube one where it was like all made on Zoom.
Oh yeah.
It was awful.
I'm good.
It was
I'm
terrible.
Good.
It was terrible. Prime, also on Prime. Speaking of Prime Video, Hollywood Hustler, glitz, glam, and scam. The meteoric rise and catastrophic fall of aspiring actor Zach Horwitz as he orchestrated one of Hollywood's most audacious financial frauds.
Sure.
I don't know. It could be something.
until they
Sabrina
find
Carpenter tomorrow night. The Road is a big one.
Sabrina Carpenter hosting SNL. Is
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you just said. Sabrina Carpenter. She could be doing anything.
I think everyone knows what tomorrow night is. Yeah. What's tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night is Saturday evening.
Yeah, there you
You're
go.
right.
Saturday Evening Live.
Saturday Evening Live.
She's hosting and musical guest. The Road. Keith Urban is hosting a
no, we're doing too much. You're doing too much.
So he's it's a competition
No.
for who's going to win to
No
be
one
his opening
cares.
act for
Yes,
his upcoming
no one
tour.
cares. Next.
It's going to be on CBS.
Anything else?
Tracker Season 2, Stan.
That's exciting.
Tracker. Oh.
Season 1 finale of Task as well.
This is not the third season of Tracker?
Oh, is it the third season? I don't know. I thought it was
think
the
it
second.
is.
Maybe it's the third.
All right.
New
Here's-
season of Tracker.
Very good. Thanks to Stan. Appreciate you coming in today, Stan.
You're very welcome.
Thanks to Austin O'Connor and to Jeff Fisher, who we're about to hear from. We're going to get that up in the greatest hits section of the
Aspiration
tab at glennclarkradio.com. Speaking of Warren Moon, on Monday's program, Warren Moon is going to join us.
Really?
The Hall of Fame quarterback. Kind of a similar story as what we're going to be talking to Jeff Fisher about. He was once on, was it a Seahawks team?
No, the Oilers.
An Oilers
93.
team that started 1-4. So just want to get some perspective on how you handle miserable starts and get out of it. So Warren Moon's going to join us on Monday's show to tell us about that. Thanks, everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Game Day Men's Health, Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, 1-800-GAMBLER, helpmygamblingproblem.org, countysports.zone, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com, the Costas Inn, Nick's Fish House, the Maryland 5-star. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great weekend. Go Terps. Anybody else we're rooting? Whatever. Just go Terps.
Yeah.
Duke sucks. We're going to grab a break. When we come back, Jeff Fisher, former Titans head coach, a man who knows a thing or two about overcoming a slow start and making a run in the playoffs. We'll find out how you do it next. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, costasin.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Don Marcus profiles new Maryland Athletic Director Jim Smith, breaking down the challenge he faces in his new role and the unique background he brings to the job. Also inside, Brandon Schwartzberg takes an in-depth look at Orioles outfielder Dylan Beavers. And we meet college basketball players from all the programs around the state before the season gets underway. Press Box is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region. And starting this month, you can find us at Baltimore area High's Dairy Store locations. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Game day hits different with Live Casino's Big Plays, Big Pays hot seats. Head to Sports and Social on select Sundays and Mondays in October. We'll draw 10 hot seat winners every hour. When the home team scores, we'll double the prize pool. Plus, we'll give away $50 Sports and Social gift cards with every touchdown. Watch and win at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
Welcome back in. We are about to hear from Jeff Fisher and get out of here on a Friday edition of the program. Appreciate everyone tuning in. As Glenn likes to say, I don't know if Glenn said it, Duke sucks. Here is our conversation with Jeff Fisher.
Of course, the Ravens are off to a tough start, 1-5. Only 4 teams in NFL history have ever made the playoffs after starting 1-5. Now, our next guest, not one of those teams, but he was part of a team that got off to a really tough start. He was the head coach of the Tennessee Titans in 2002 when they lost 4 games in a row, fell to 1-4, but then rallied to make the playoffs. Joining us now, it's a pleasure to welcome in a man who knows a thing or two about big games against the Ravens, as he was a huge part of a great rivalry in our city's football history. He is Jeff Fisher, and he is with us here on GCR. Coach, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's real great to chat with you. Thank you so much for taking the time for us.
Well, my pleasure, Glenn. It's nice to talk with you, and it's nice to bring back fond memories.
Man.
You know, and I'm forever a Raven fan, believe it or not.
Wait,
just
what?
Because of Coach and, you know, and Ozzie and, you know, and Steve and the rivalry and everything. So I know it's a little hard right now.
Okay.
You know, it hurts to see what's going on there, but, you know, it's not their fault. There's people hurt.
Sure.
And, you know, they'll get back to their winning ways, but you can see what what injury can do, and then maybe a bad bounce or this or that, and then it starts to snowball, and so they'll find their way out of it.
Okay, I want to talk about it, but what you just said just left me shocked, Coach. You said, I'm a fan of the Ravens, and those of us that, I was a young man. I was right in the throes of the Ravens-Titans rivalry. It fueled me for those years as a young man. And so I think of Brian Billick once said F the Titans after a game. I can't believe that you're a fan of the Baltimore Ravens.
Well, we had so many great matchups, and there's so many memories and so many wins and losses per se that their losses were crippling to both teams. Gary Anderson kicks a field goal there, and Eddie had the ball bounce off his shoulder, in the divisional playoff game in 2000, and Ray takes it, home. So, there was a lot going on. We blocked 2 punts in the game in 2000, the playoff game in 2000, and both those punts went sideways out of bounds. The bounces were weird, but that's how the game was. And, when it was Raven week, it was different. And no, that doesn't mean to say we didn't have a Steeler week or a Bengal week either, but the Raven week was different. But I always had great respect. I spent a lot of time on the competition committee with Ozzie, and, Ozzie laid the foundation for everybody, man. And so I am clearly. And then you guys go ahead and take couple of my best players.
That's true. There is
3 of them actually, and won some games. So, how can I not pull for you guys when Steve's under center, or Blaine's trying to take on a block, or Mace is, scoring a touchdown. So, it was really, really, really cool experience.
I am still. It shook me hearing you say that, but I appreciate that, and obviously, what a special rivalry it was during those years. Coach, we called you because I really was just trying to get some insight. I feel like when you're sitting in a situation like this, as you alluded to, the Ravens 1-5, the sky is falling and nothing works and everything is a disaster and everyone should be fired, and this feeling. And I think of that 2002 team, and I don't remember all of the circumstances that led to you guys getting off to a tough start, but I remember, of course, that this is just a couple years off of the run to the Super Bowl. What was the feeling like at 1-4, and how difficult is that inside of a building when that's sort of the definition of who you are as a team at that point?
I had I believe the 3rd loss, or maybe the 4th loss, came against the then Washington Redskins. Steve Spurrier was the coach, and I had an issue on the sideline in the game. We lost it, but I don't want to get too technical, but I told one of our defensive players during an injury timeout or a TV timeout exactly what was going to happen on the next play. And he looked at me and said, "I got you, coach." And he did the exact opposite of what he was supposed to do. And gave up a touchdown pass. So I had that, that to me was an issue. And at that point, was it an issue team-wide? And so I started doing some research on it, and, I figured out what was going on there. But we came back and won the next game, and then we had a bye week after that. And I basically stood in front of the team right before I cut him loose for the bye, and told him that I had just gotten a league memo and something went wrong with the first part of the schedule, and they're starting the season all over. And now you see where I'm getting at, and it's like, hey man, let's forget it. We got 11 games left. We'll start the season over, and we'll just get on a roll and we'll go. Fortunately for us, we had guys coming back. And I just told them, I said, hey, just block out, man. They don't count those games. That was preseason. We're going to take a weekend off here, and then we're going to come back, and we're really going to get going. And you know what we did? We went to the championship game. Side note, I did fill the laundry hampers with beer. And after I was done with the meeting, I pulled the sheets off and said, anybody wants to sit around, drink some beer with me and the coaches, come on. And everybody stayed there for a few hours.
Wow.
You know, but it was, it was just one of those. I think this, you have to create an environment where on Mondays, everybody needs to be told to slow down when they're driving into the facility because they can't wait to get there, win or lose, because they're looking forward to coming to work. Because work is not a 9-to-5 job. It's a 5 to 9 job. And it's supposed to be fun. So whatever coaches can do to make things fun when you're on a losing streak, I'm all for it because I did it several times. And then that's just what you do, and you find your way. And then go figure, somebody makes a play at the end, and then the next game you win the game, and then you get on a roll. Who knows? But I think the big thing for the Ravens, and first and foremost, is what's the status? How's Lamar?
Right.
When's he going to come back? When do you think he's coming back? Because that's going to be a date circled on everybody's or dotted now in their phone on the calendar. So when's he coming back? That gives us a chance. All right, what can we do between now and then? It's like it's an incremental thing that you have to do. And it sounds easy coming from me. Trust me, Coach Harbaugh's staff is doing everything they possibly can, and they're doing it right.
He's Coach Jeff Fisher. He's with us on GCR, and I'm wishing that the Ravens could replicate that at the building. I don't know if you're allowed to do that anymore in 202025 and just put beers everywhere.
But hey, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was just kind of.
No, I appreciate it. Right.
People didn't get. I don't want to say bad words, but people didn't get shit faced, man. They just had a beer and we're talking, So but that was it. It's different. Do something different.
I think it's great. I think it's great. And, Coach, I feel like what you just said, because the expectation is the Ravens have to bye this weekend, and then the expectation is that Lamar will be back next week when they play the Bears. And if that's the case, do you feel like are guys like that pragmatic, that the knowledge of that, everybody, it avoids them from getting too down about themselves, like, hey, this isn't great, but we know it's going to be different when Lamar's on the field?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Just go back briefly in history and how many games have you won with him?
Yeah, most of them.
So,
right.
and so it's not that hard. You just, it's all about that when he comes back. But everybody needs to figure out a way to just be a little bit better. Is there a weakness in your game that you can turn into a strength over the bye weekend? And it can be subtle.
They need to,
and then come back and again, one of the things that happens is that, when things start going, slipping away, change needs to be made, but only, when I say that, change the daily schedule a little bit, or change the practice schedule a little bit, or just tweak something, or start off with something different. Start off with a two-bit, whatever it is. Just because if you're staying in the same routine, and you're losing in the same routine, one after another, that's when you got to change something. It can be subtle. You guys can watch practice, won't even know it. But something, and trust me, I'm not telling Coach John anything he doesn't know. I'm sure he's done that already.
Jeff, is it as I presented it this way, some people would say the change you need to make is a change on the staff. Some people would say, hey, like, for example, the Ravens defense has really struggled this year, has gotten basically no edge rush, that the change you need to make is to change your defensive coordinator.
So let me ask you, is that defensive coordinator rushing the passer on 3rd and 3 to 6?
No, not the one.
Okay.
Correct.
So, all right. So, and did
sorry, Coach, we still got you? See if we can. Yep.
It's you got, hey, they're doing everything they possibly can. Now, if you're sitting a guy that's got 10 sacks already in the losses and he's not playing, then I would think about it. But, you don't have that guy right now. You just got to keep playing and create the plays.
I guess
I mean, I don't know what the I haven't really studied that close, but
Sure.
the takeaway giveaway ratio is right now.
It's not great. Yeah, it's not good at all.
Okay, isn't this not great because why, you're giving it up or you're not getting
Yeah,
it?
it's been really even. I'm sure you're stunned. Even Derrick Henry's given the ball away a few times this year, which is clearly unlike him.
Yeah. You said my what?
I said you might be surprised that Derrick Henry's even been giving the ball away.
Oh
this year.
yeah. I mean, come on. It's just one of those things. It's not going to continue. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
by
gosh,
the way, the turnover differential. I was just double checking. It's -7. It's tied for the worst in the league at the moment.
Okay, yeah, but what about the takeaways on defense?
Yeah, they haven't really been there either. Unfortunately, they only have
Well,
one.
see, but they come. You know, when they come, look out. You know that you go through little droughts, and you start the season off and go this, and they don't have the numbers but they're coming. So they're coaching the same way. So I wouldn't necessarily look forward to playing the Ravens after a week off in this situation. So I'm saying I would be looking over my shoulders if I was the Bears.
And I think a lot of people agree with that. Coach, I guess the question becomes, is there a point at which it just becomes too much, right? Like right now it's 1-5. You go win against the Bears, follow that up, put some wins together, everything is going to be good. But if it got to 1-6, like, is there a point at which you just look up and you say, nah, this hole is too much, and you worry about guys starting to check out a little bit?
That's not gonna be allowed. There's too much leadership on that team, too much tradition there. I mean, that's not going to be a problem. Now, it's not fun to go in at 11 o'clock in the morning, get your ankles taped 1-7 or 1-8, but it's a job, and you got to find some way to make it fun. But and I don't. You can watch. You guys have watched a lot. I can't remember. I can't remember a team that just basically turned it in.
Yeah.
Now if you start playing a lot of different players and that kind of thing, the expectation is the same. We're expecting to win the game. We're just getting some guys some experience. But this is a road that that they haven't been down, and they'll fix it. I mean, I would say that. I mean, there's no crack in that pavement. So, I mean, I think they come back after bye week and keep playing.
Coach, I wonder, before we let you go, you obviously did not have to go up against Lamar, but imagining, and we've seen teams, before he got hurt, we saw a little bit more spying this year, and he admitted that kind of frustrated him a little bit when the Lions did it. What would you be doing as a defensive-minded coach to try to minimize the damage that Lamar Jackson can do against you?
Well, I mean, you do. I mean, it's interesting you bring that up because I watch when I watch the Ravens. That's what I'm paying attention to. Is what's the philosophy here? Do teams just do what they are good at, or are teams changing because of Lamar's just rare athletic ability as a passer and a runner? So, and I think you see a little of both, but I think, and this is not just Lamar, it's any quarterback. It's just, you got to continue to give an ever-changing look. And, you got to change your look after the ball snap. And so that's the challenge. And in order to do that, oh, by the way, you have to have an experienced group on defense. And if you're an opponent playing them and they've got injuries in the secondary, things like that, it gets hard. They're just hoping to make a play now. So the big thing is try to create a second and long, and hope he doesn't cut it down with his legs and get the ball back, get off the field. But I'm really impressed with him and how he's playing up until this year. I mean, he'll go right back to his old self.
Yeah,
So.
he's 101. Coach, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask this because it does strike me. You probably heard this phrase. I hear the phrase sometimes, the message might be getting stale. And I feel like it's just a throwaway phrase that we use because you know how this works. Everybody in this business, every fan likes nothing more than firing coaches. It's just they like doing it for sport. And so they'll use that. They'll say, hey, I worry that maybe the messaging is getting stale. I can tell the reverence that you have for John Harbaugh. What would you make of that argument that, hey, playoff failures the last few years, maybe there's a concern that perhaps his message is getting stale to these players?
Well, it's all about expectation level, and that is good from a fan base, from an organizational, and from the coaches and the players. There is an expectation level. Nobody likes having to come into work on Mondays consecutive weeks or week after week after week and correct after a loss. That's the challenge. Okay, so I don't think there's anything in you. Yes, I have a relationship and I have fondness about, the Harbaughs and family and what they've done for this game and having competed against both of them. But I don't think the message is stale. All you have to do is put on the upcoming opponent. That's all you got to do is look at it. There's nothing stale about a challenge ahead. And every week in this league is a challenge.
I appreciate that. Jeff Fisher, is there anything that you're up to these days that we can plug for you?
Oh, you're so nice. I appreciate it. You know what I'm doing? I got involved a couple years ago in the 50-yard game, the indoor world, and so we're running all over the country, bringing new franchises into our league, and I'm having a blast. So as a coach, man, what you do, and it goes back to Coach Harbaugh, you turn people's weaknesses into strengths, and you help people all the time. I end up in a position where I'm helping indoor football league, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
So, but I still am glued in to what's going on in the league. I love the league. I love the end of half and end of game stuff. Unfortunately, it hasn't gone very well.
I was going to say, what about running the tush push 3 straight times at the end of a half? How would you feel? Man, we didn't...
I would say that the tush push will not be part of the 26 season.
You know a thing or two about the competition committee, so I think that sounds. I mean,
four times in a row.
I know that was something
and
that we saw.
3 of them they false started.
Yeah. How does that keep happening, by the way? How do they keep the word was
it's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So I think it got the league's office attention.
Coach, this was a pleasure, and I can't believe if I went back and told 17-year-old Glenn Clark that Jeff Fisher was a fan of the Baltimore Ravens, that would blow my mind. Really.
Well, I didn't say back then.
Yeah, right now.
We had some great ones, man. Thanks for the memories. I mean, Trent didn't even get a first down the second half of 2000.
That is true. There were a few games that were like that season, but they still figured out a way to win them. Oh, it was a special group, man. There is no doubt about it. Coach, this was an awful lot of fun. Thank you for doing this. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Bobby. Anytime. Take care.